This is Elaine Graham interviewing Alan Negus at his home in Parkfields, Thundersley, on the 28th of April 2010. Now, how long did you live in Rayleigh, Mr. Negus?
Well, I was born in Rayleigh in 1930, and I lived here till about 1950. And I went away, and I was in lodgings in a couple of places in Rayleigh. I can't tell you what years. One was in White House Chase, and one was on London Hill.
Right.
I went Trinity Road.
And do you have any memories of the windmill in Rayleigh?
Well, I used to belong to the Rayleigh Antiquarian Historical Society, and we used to sort of man the windmill. In that windmill at one time was some tools given by somebody of the name of Negus, and we asked Dolly Green if she had any record of who the people were, and she didn't know. I mean, the name of Negus wasn't all that common in them days.
And what year are you talking about that it was in the windmill?
90s.
Yes. This was when it was just opened, the ground floor.
Yes.
And the Historical Society used to run it.
Yeah. They wouldn't allow them to open the other floors because they couldn't get insurance.
That's right. But do you have any memories of the windmill before that? When you say you lived in Rayleigh from 1930?
Well, the windmill was run by Browns, the millers, and that was sort of shut off as part of their business premises. I don't think many people... I know my mum, who was born in Dumpton in 1908, lived in Rayleigh for a young woman, and she said that the windmill, the sails were blown down in about 1906 and never replaced.
Right. And do you remember the windmill during the war at all?
Well, it was there, sort of thing. We used to go past it as we went down to the Mounts. In fact, when we was at school, we was naughty boys and girls. We decided to play truant one afternoon, and one boy, he went and tittle-tattled. So they sent the prefects from the school, who rounded us all up and marched us back to the school from Rayleigh Mount.
Oh dear. And do you think the windmills changed over the years in Rayleigh?
Well, yes. I mean, they put the sails back on it. It's made a difference, and they've opened the hole and all that.
That's right. But you never knew anybody that worked at the windmill at all?
I think somebody named Cribb might have worked there. But I've got a phone number of a lady who may know a bit more about that than me. Her father used to work for Barnett the baker in Rayleigh High Street, who would get the flour from the windmill.
Right.
She lives up Eastwood Road.
That's okay.
Hello. Yeah.
Okay. Now, how do you... Oh, right. How do you think Rayleigh has changed over the years?
Oh, definitely. They put that horrible building they now call Rayleigh Lanes. Concrete blocks, they built that. But some parts I think are better. They widened Eastwood Road at the beginning. So you go up Eastwood Road and there's shops there, and then all of a sudden there was a shop in front of you there, Rayleigh Decorating Supply, and you had to go more towards Alexander's sort of thing to go up the Eastwood Road. I mean, they pulled down the timber yard and built a supermarket, and all the cottages went. The other blacksmiths that was in Eastwood Road, that went. One at the top of London Hill, there was a blacksmith there, and that went.
There was a blacksmith's at the top of London Hill.
Yes.
And you said there was also one in the High Street at the back of the pub.
The pub used to be called the Checkers. It was owned by Grays and Sons of Chelmsford.
And there was a blacksmith there.
The blacksmith's under the arch.
Are there any local characters from Rayleigh that you remember from past years?
I can do better than that. That is, we'll come to that one in a minute, but there's the local character of Rayleigh from the past, Albert Cable.
So tell us about Albert.
Albert, I never really knew what was wrong with him. Right from a youngster, he had 2 sticks. Always walked around on the sticks, and often we'd sit on the fence at the front of the Weir pub. There used to be a trellis fence and an arch gateway to go into the grounds, and they used to have tables in there and a building where you could buy teas. One particular time he was really cheesed off. Now I'd done something that you'd never do in today's life. I pinched his sticks and I went for a walk right round the roundabout in the middle of the road with 2 sticks, and he fell off that fence laughing at me. But another thing with Albert, I don't think he hardly ever paid his fare on the buses, because there was conductors in them days. If an inspector got on, the bus conductor would give him a tuppenny ticket or something like that, just to say he'd got a ticket. And in Rayleigh in them days, near where Dorothy Perkins is, used to be a shop called the Library. I think then they changed it to Fives or something to do with records. But there used to be a bench there. Albert would sit on that bench. He would watch people going in the Spread Eagle. He'd watch people going in the Crown. And he had certain people he knew would buy him a drink. And whichever pub had the first person go in it, he'd aim for.
Is this Albert?
That's Albert, yeah.
And who are the other people in the photo?
That's a copy of a photo. I'd forgotten. I've mislaid the photo. Mike Davis brought that up. I said I'd like the photo. Well, I took that photo that you're looking at there in Tottenham. Now that was one of them trips when in those days we had Westlake Bus Company, Eastern National Bus Company, City Bus Company, Hadley Bus Company, Canby Bus Company and Southend Transport. Well, that was on a city bus. That photo was actually taken at Tottenham. We went up there with them and spent a day with them, and it never cost him a bean.
And what's happening in this other photo?
Well, I don't really know much about that.
Okay.
That was him walking between the buses and that, wasn't it? Or no, he's on the bus. If you look.
Yes, yeah, I can see he's there.
If you look behind the bus, there's a shop, and I can't remember it being there exactly. But friends have told me that shop is now Martin's and used to be a supermarket, Presto's or something.
So this is in Rayleigh High Street?
Yes.
Yes, that used to be like, it was an old-fashioned supermarket, like the Home and Colonial or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was near where Rayleigh Lanes is now.
Yeah.
I think you're the 3rd person that we've interviewed that has talked about Albert. So he must have been a really important local character, really. People will obviously remembered him.
I was with him whenever I could be, probably more than others, but he had lots and lots of people who sort of friends with him.
Did you want to talk about other photos in there?
Well, do you know what that is? 2 different photos.
Here. Any idea? The High Road.
Look at the phone numbers.
Is this where the petrol filling station is in Rayleigh, near the weir?
Near the weir, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which was taken first, but as you notice, the front of the building has got different top.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
But during the Second World War,
Yeah.
that was where the rocket landed.
Oh, I see.
Rayleigh, Ken Crow, I think his name is, in Southend Museum, has got 2 photos. Well, my youngest brother's out in New Zealand now. He came over a holiday a few years ago and he got these 2 photos. And Ken Crow has got them the wrong way round. That was where the rocket dropped, near the weir. And at Rayleigh House was where the doodlebug crashed into a tree. Now when that doodlebug crashed into the tree, the story goes, I don't know how true it is, there was Alison Picton and her mother were both killed. And they say that their bodies were found 200 yards away from the house. And also in that, where that doodlebug dropped opposite Rayleigh House, was where Ernie Lane's wife and her sister were in the bed and the wall fell down. And Ernie won't really tell us what went on, but the story used to go around that firemen sort of crawled across the floor and put a rope on their bed, because you had wheels on your beds. And the floor was sloping away from them. And if anybody walked over, it could have sent the bed over the edge, because there's no wall to stop it. And Albert Cable was bombed out at the weir by the rocket, and he finished up in one of them cottages next door to, I can't think what that house is. 2 doors away from Gazy Bow Villas anyway. Across the road from there, next door to Rayleigh House, used to be a little bungalow. We used to call it the Chocolate House, because it had some little steps up to it. And as you looked at them, they looked like squares of chocolate. And that little cottage was had a mixture of brick and clinker wall and a post, and the post had a ring, and that was one of the Turngate cottages where you had to pay to go through.
The toll.
Do you remember much about the cinema in Rayleigh?
Do I remember much about the cinema in Rayleigh? Yes. I've got the video up there of all the cinemas in this area. In fact, if you want to find out more about the cinema in Rayleigh, on this Sunday there's a special thing to do with films starting today, somewhere in Southend. And on Sunday, Ron Stewart, the last manager and projectionist in Rayleigh Cinema, will be in Southend.
It must be, I think I've seen in the paper like a film festival or
There's the
something.
White Bus
isn't
Company.
there?
Well, I've not seen it in the paper, but
right, okay.
I heard it on the BBC Essex radio. They was talking to him and Chris Izod. Now he's one to avoid. I loaned Chris Izod some bits about Hadley Cinema in 1995 in an envelope with my address on it, and I've still not got it back. I found out afterwards he doesn't return things.
What are your memories of that cinema?
We used to go there when we could afford it. I mean, you know, when we was kids, it was nothing to your mother get a big thick cardboard box, cut bits out of it, and put in your shoes to cover the holes, and you used them shoes for playing. And she'd get an old pair of trousers and patch them up for your playing. So you say you had a decent pair of shoes and decent pair of trousers to go to school. And we used to, when we could afford it, we used to go to what was called the Tuppenny Rush. And Saturday morning. And as it finished, we all used to sing a little song. Look to your left and you look to your right and you never, never get run over.
Oh dear. And how old were you when you remember the Tuppenny Rush?
Probably about 5 or 6. In fact, I think we see Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs on that cinema.
And do you have any other good memories of growing up in Rayleigh?
Well, I had good old friends in Rayleigh. Mind you, I'm lucky I'm alive, actually. I've got about 11 lives, so I think I've...
More than a cat?
Yeah.
And what do you think the windmill means to Rayleigh?
Quite a lot. It goes with me wherever I go.
What, the memory of the windmill?
No, the windmill. And we're now going to show you a photo. If I can find it. No. Where is it? Can't find it now. That's me. When I had rickets. There's the windmill.
Oh, so it is. You just described that photo to us, when it was and...
Well, I don't know exactly when it was. It was since they put the sails back on. Yeah. And the old cinema is still there, I think, and that's Rayleigh Mill Hall.
So why do you carry this photo of you? Is it because... why do you carry the windmill photo with you?
For memories and things. That photo of me is sitting on a basket, and I've got wooden splints tucked into boots on my legs, and what you see there is the white bandages.
Yeah, I saw those, yeah.
And that is the back corner of what is now known as 33 Weir Gardens.
So for you, carrying a photo of the windmill symbolises sort of Rayleigh and your memories of growing up. That's lovely.
There's photos of that windmill in New Zealand.